Hello, so this is a brief follow-up to the important bird areas data entry meeting we had earlier today, where we had technical difficulties where from network issues that seemed to have been affecting all of Tucson Audubon, we were unable to connect to the server. Later today, they seem to be all back up again, so I just wanted to do a brief video of a demonstration of what I was going to do in our meeting, so that if you were at the Monday February 6th meeting, this would have been a few minutes within the meeting where I would have shown how this works and what's involved in doing data entry online. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So how this works is you go to the webpage, ArizonaIBA.org, AZIBA for Arizona Important Bird Areas, AZIBA.org, and you go over to this database tab. And just we got this far before where it starts showing us things like queries. And so you can actually go to a query. And this is what it's supposed to look like. And it has taken you, because that's the link I clicked, it's taken you to the survey location and summary, species summary report. But once you're in the system, you can maneuver around. But to do some of the other queries down the menu. So how this is laid out is the main menus, all the links to get to the different parts of data entry or data summary review. It's all here on this left column. Now, a few of the things like data entry, you have to be logged in to do. Now, but let's do a query first. So let's see what's been found on any of these sites. This is how this works. A lot of this is pull down menus, and this is all interacting with that access database. So there's a table of locations and it's pulling that information from it. So if something happens where a location you need isn't available, I can go in and add it in the back end. But so there's a lot of data being pulled from the access database and then going back in as well. So for instance, this Barrett Goldwater Range, this is an area out by Yuma. If I click all sites and I generate a report, it shows me birds that we're seeing. So this part of the sort of database online interface of the database is visible to anybody. But you go to do some data entry, it's password protected. So those who decide to move forward and become data enterers will be given a username and password. So I'm going to put mine in right now. And then once you're logged in, and this is just to protect the integrity of the data. So people can view data without logging in, but to enter data, you have to log in. So we'll be making logins for that. So let's see here. So I'm going to do just sort of a sample data entry so you can see how this would look. So databases are incredibly logical, and they have their own logic, which is not necessarily as intuitive as one might hope, but it is very logical. And once you understand the logic of how this works, it's really repeatable, but it only does exactly what you tell it to, and it only knows exactly what you tell it. So they do go in order, which is really pretty helpful. So we always go to this main survey data entry edit first. So if you have a packet of data that you're going to enter, like our example before with San Rafael, you will select a location, because our data forms work this way too, where we have locations and then sites. Locations in a larger area like San Rafael grassland, and then there can be routes within that area. So I hit an S on the keyboard, it goes to the S's. So all the pull downs work that way. But you can see here all these different locations. So let's see, actually, this was team 5. So San Rafael Grasslands, T5. Let's select that one. And I have done data entry, obviously, on the past here, because now it's pulled down surveys that have been done by me. So this is all because we have people log in anyway, as a user, as someone who's verified to be doing data entry, ones that you have entered show up for you. Now this is great because it makes it so you can't accidentally alter data that was entered by someone else. The system knows what was entered by you and shows you that stuff. So in the past, apparently, I don't remember this, it was a long time ago, when I first started, I entered data for San Rafael from 2011 and 2012 and 2010. So I'm going to now do a sample one. So I'm going to say there was 4 observers on that team. That is what was on this team on my form here. I was the date off the data forms here. 3/4/2023, their start time is, looking at the data, they started at the earliest one here. Let's say 8:05, for example here, and they ended around noon. Primary habitat. There's a place for this on the floor. So this is grassland habitat. Now, sometimes people do this blank. That's fine. We're not really doing a training right now. I'm just trying to show how this works. And then we're going to do a save server. Boom. And if you saw that on it added it as a line here. So it's now added a record. It should add it to this table below. So for yesterday's date, when the survey happened, I can edit that if I want. So I click this blue edit link, and then I can make any changes. Let's say I put the wrong year by accident. Oh, no, I didn't mean 2022. I meant 2023. And then when you're done, you can hit update. Or if you didn't mean to click edit, you can say cancel too. But to update, change it. Okay. So then once this is entered and it's shown on the table below, and all the steps work this way, it's in. You don't ever have to hit really like, well, you do hit save survey record, but things automatically update in Access. So then if you go to the next step, so that was our first one, main survey data entry. Then you go to enter, edit, observers, and weather. You're going to select San Rafael again. So this is what I mean, that it's not, it only knows exactly what you tell it. So, okay, I was like, yep, I'm doing that San Rafael. I need to select the one I just did, and it puts it at the top of the list. This San Rafael T5 with yesterday's date, select. It makes it super obvious by making it really yellow. Then I can select my observers from the list. So let's say who was there? Actually, it was Tim. So I think he's going to be on this list. Tim. I'm going to insert him. And so you literally select the right person. Now I have unknown person on a lot of these. So if the names are on the list, you can just hit unknown person and then insert. That's kind of a quirk of the system. We'll cover that in the training. If there's weather recorded, you enter it here. So we're going to say the time for weather is and it's 75 degrees. The wind was a 1, and precipitation was none, and the clouds was a 0. So we're going to insert the weather, and then again the that shows up on the nice table. Now once you have this entrance, now we've established where the survey was, the date, who was there, and then any weather if it was collected. Then depending on the survey type, in this example it's a transect, which is kind of the main survey type. We are going to go ahead and, sorry, it's beeping, it's distracting me. Okay, so we're going to hit transect. This is a transect type survey. Then you go back to San Rafael again. And again, I can start typing it, which really helps narrow it down. San Rafael, that same one. So it's logical in the sense that you have to like tell it, it's trying to make sure, these are steps to make sure the data is connecting to the right surveys. So yep, T5. And then this is when you start putting in the birds. We're actually going to go to their bird for our example. So Savannah sparrows, their first bird. I just typed in SAV and it went to the correct one. I can select it with my mouse, or you can hit enter. And then it's an audio, or this is following the data form. It's an audio or visual. They have a visual here. Total count, 1, put a 1. Distance zone, this is what makes us different in that eBird can't accommodate this. So it's, you know, they check marked on the data form here, 0 to 50. I select 0 to 50. They didn't fill anything else out. They didn't put male, female. Obviously, they couldn't tell. And then I hit insert, and it goes in. And there's a table below here showing what I just entered. Okay, so then if I want to do another bird, let's say they have a roadrunner here, so GRRO. So these are it does operate with 4-letter codes, and they're supposed to put them in there, but that's something we'll cover in training as well. This is also a visual. Total count 1. Total count 1. Yes, 0 to 50 meters. Insert. And it goes right in, and you can see it. So this helps you too. If you step away and come back, you can see which ones you've already entered. So this is how this all works, and it's pretty straightforward. And with the training, it is extremely logical. And once you get pretty good at it, you can go actually really fast. So let me show you. I'm going to do this without mouse at all. Okay, I'm going to do this just with keys. Now I have to select the fact I want the pull down open first. But the next one they have here is Northern Harrier. So NOHA typed, and it went to the correct one I can see on the screen. So I'm going to hit enter. Then if I hit tab, it goes to audio or visual. I can hit visual, tab, I can type in the number, which is 1. That's correct. Tab, wasn't estimated distance zone is 1, 0 to 50 meters. And then from there, I can select and start. So you can get pretty darn quick at this. And the system works pretty well, and it's really pretty accommodating. So that is how that works. It's pretty straightforward, I feel like. And so if you were to, and it really guides you along, and also have like that sort of typed out directions on how to do this. But so this works in this like hierarchical steps where you start with the biggest thing. So biggest thing being sort of like where they were, where was this survey, what date was it, exactly what route did they do. So that's sort of this main survey data entry. Then you go to the second step on this blue menu here on the left. It's like, okay, so for that survey, you have to select it again. For that San Rafael survey on that date, at that route, who were the observers? Who were the people there? And if they have weather data, what was the conditions? Okay, great, you establish that. And you move to the next step of actually entering the bird data. So you then have to still tell it, okay, that survey we're doing, the San Rafael one, yep, boom, San Rafael, that one. And you go to, then you start entering your birds. Now, how we do it, because we do several types of surveys, this transect, area search, supplemental, and casuals are all this data entry right here. Point count looks a little different because the data forms are asking for different information. So we have to have a different interface for that. So if you're entering someone's point count, you go back to, let's say, San Rafael again. So you want to eventually down point counts first. Let's say Simpson. Point counts for that. Yeah. Then you say, okay, Simpson, I've already established this survey count, select, and then you start entering in your birds. Now, ones I've already entered in the past are already here, but I don't want to mess with it, so I'm not gonna. Then we have census surveys, which are like ponds and lakes, and then we have nocturnal survey. So it's pretty good. And then we have an edit species record link where I can actually go and edit some of those San Rafael. We did this so it's not so easy to accidentally click it by accident from that original table. So here's that San Rafael I did that for my example. I'm going to select it. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't mean to say Northern Harrier, I meant red-tailed hawk. So I can hit edit, and then I can make that change. So you can do this in real time. A lot of it you can do yourself, which is really nice. But there's a few things that the system does not allow people through the web interface to change. And that's deleting records. We're really worried people might do that by accident. You also can't delete an entire survey. So you can update this to something like unknown bird or something. But, oh, it's this one, Jen. I need you to delete that entire record. That's one way to do it. You can also change things like, oh no, I meant it to be a both, not a visual. The count, the distance zone. It's all editable. We just don't allow things to be deleted for safety reasons. Okay, so I'm going to cancel that so it goes back to the original record then. So I hope this helps explain how the system works. And it was so weird how it wasn't working this morning because it usually works really well. It's the first time I ever had sort of a network issue where it wasn't something like a few years ago when we were switching entire systems or something. That was pretty bizarre this morning. The timing was impeccable. So it's pretty straightforward. It can be done from anywhere with a web connection. We very occasionally have hiccups with things not working. I never had it happen that way before. Sometimes it's because if we're in the system doing analysis through Access, or if we're trying to download data or something like that, that can sometimes interfere with the web interface just because we have it open on the back end. But that was pretty unusual this morning. But I hope this demonstration helps, and I'm trying to save people the time of having to go to that other meeting on Friday. So hopefully this explains what I was trying to show, and then I will be doing the whole meeting again on Friday, and anyone's welcome to attend that as well. Thank you all so much.